this is Durgesh. Welcome to my channel Tech and Art guys. Hope you are doing well. So guys, today's session is very critical. I would request to watch the complete session, because if you watch this session, no need to watch it for the other things, right? Other session. So today's session is all about AJ 900 complete session end to end, and we are going to explaining the understanding the core Azure services. Okay, so without wasting our time, let's move to the next slide. Here in this slide, we are going to discuss about the understanding the cloud concept. Okay, so as of now we have the three types of cloud: the private cloud, public cloud, and hybrid cloud. Okay, so let's discuss one by one each of them. Okay, so as you can see here, the public cloud basically a types of cloud computing that's delivered via the internet and shared across organization. What does this mean actually? So basically it's open for the all. If you are taking as an example like the cloud provider services, Amazon and AWS, that's called public cloud because it's delivering through the internet. Anyone can access, create the credential, and anyone can use their services. So that's called public cloud. If you are talking about the private cloud, that and the types of cloud computing that is delivered 100% to your organization. Okay, so let's take an example. The company like the Dell and IBM, Accenture, they have created their own private cloud, and the very critical the clients basically prefer to join the private cloud like banking sector and all, right? Because it's their own set of environment, right? It's not open for the publicly. Okay, once you're talking the hybrid cloud, so types of cloud computing where any environment that use the both public and private cloud. So if you look at this diagram, basically so hybrid cloud, it's a mix of public and private cloud. So that type of cloud where we can access the public stuff and the private cloud both. So based on the requirement, basically the clients prefer to join the hybrid cloud, right? So it's totally based on the requirement and the criticality of your application. If your application is too much critical, the clients want to prefer to join the private cloud and else public cloud, right? So here we are getting the combo of private and public cloud. Okay, so that's all about the understanding the concept of cloud. If you go next slide, so here I just have taken the examples. Just have a look at a glance, the public versus private versus hybrid. What we can do in a public, we cannot do private, and hybrid, what we are achieving with the public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. What are the benefits and negative things? So just I have segregated like a column wise. If you have a look, the public cloud basically the no maintenance cost, the private cloud dedicated secure, and the hybrid cloud the policy driven deployment. Okay, in a public cloud the highly scalability and flexibility, in a private cloud regulation compliant, and the hybrid cloud the high scalability and flexibility. If you look here, the reduced complexity in a public cloud, customizable. The private cloud, we as we discussed in a previous slide, we can do the customization based on your requirement. Whatever the requirement, you can customize your cloud, right? The hybrid cloud, minimal security risk. Okay, the flexible pricing and the high scalability, workload diversity, supports high reliability. In a public cloud, agile for information. If you look at here, the private cloud, it's like efficient in a hybrid cloud, improve the security. If you talk about the potential of high TCO in terms of TCO, so public is like potential for high TCO, and the private cloud is expensive with high TCO, and the hybrid cloud is like potential for high TCO, right? The public cloud decrease the security and availability, the private cloud the minimal mode access, and the hybrid cloud compatibility and integration, right? The minimal control over the public cloud, limiting the infrastructure, private cloud, and added complexity in a hybrid cloud. So this slide basically just giving at a glance between the public, private, and hybrid cloud. It's a very much useful information. Come to the next slide. Yeah, this is something very much interesting to understanding the the core traditional IT infrastructure and the infrastructure as a services, platform as a services, and software as a services. So based on this chart, we can discuss here and we can understanding the all those three cloud components like infrastructure services, performance, platform as a services, and software as a services. So firstly, we'll discuss the traditional IT setup, what we supported before the cloud. If you look at here, the traditional IT support, where we supported the networking, storage, servers, virtualization, operating system, middleware, runtime, data, and application. So that's all from top to bottom managed by you in a traditional core setup infrastructure, what we supported before cloud, right? So that's the reason I have mentioned here traditional IT, because we are going to correlate between the cloud and old traditional IT. If you look at here the infrastructure as a services, yes, the networking, storage, server, virtualization, and operating system delivered by the cloud services. So whoever your cloud provider like AWS, Azure, whatever, Microsoft, it's delivered by cloud services, right? Only you are going to manage the middleware, runtime, data, and application. It's managed by you, right? So here we are getting the nicely build the infrastructure. On top, just we are managing the middleware, runtime, data, and application, right? So here we are getting the nicely created infrastructure in a, that's the reason we called as a IaaS. Some people call IaaS, right? Infrastructure as a services. The platform services, platform as a services, if you are taking look at here, the networking, storage, servers, virtualization, operating system, middleware, and runtime delivered by cloud services, right? Only you are going to manage the data and application. Once we are saying the data and application, that's you are only going to deploying the codes, packages, and all, and configuring the database setup, right? If you come to the software as a services, from the bottom to top, it's managed by delivered as a services. It's supported by the cloud provider. The networking, storage, server, virtualization, operating system, middleware, runtime, data, and application. No need to worry about at all. It's totally handed over to, totally supported by, delivered as a services, right? So I just correlate with the traditional IT setup and the current cloud infrastructure. So hope it's clear what we supported earlier before clouds and now what we are supporting. So this slide is pretty much good to make the understanding about the infrastructure services, platform as a services, and software as a services, and what we supported earlier traditional IT. So it's very easy to understanding all those three. Come to the next slide. Okay, so this is something very much interesting topic, the Azure regions. So firstly we'll discuss here, as of now, as per my understanding, the 60+ region worldwide Microsoft created, and 140 available in 140 countries plus region. So what is that? What is this Azure region actually basically? So what Microsoft did here, they segregated their data center in a different geographical zones. Let's assume example, you are sitting here, your project is running in India, okay, and you want to run your application on a Azure cloud. So for you, the nearest geographical zone 100% will be Asia, right? Whatever the data center placed in a Asia zone, that is your nearest. So why they created the zone wise, that's called a region, because there is a logic behind. If you think you are running your project in India and you are taking the support from the US data center, so all the network traffic and all, it's taking too much time to get the deliver from the US to India, right? It's taking high bandwidth. If you take the nearest region data center, it will be helpful to your project to better performance, speed up, right? So that's the reason Microsoft designed the data center in a geo-wise geographical zones, right? So that's the reason we call Azure regions. You need to understand where it's placed, and when in the next this is the fundamental session only. So that's the reason when we take the lab session, how to create the virtual machine and all, so during that time I will show you how they are asking to select the Azure regions. When you are creating the virtual machine, definitely they will ask to select the Azure region where you placed and where you want to run the application from which region. Okay, so this is something very very conceptual things to understanding the get the delivered projects quickly. You need to select the regions which is nearest for you. Okay, come to the next slide. So here basically the availability zone, it's relation between the Azure regions and availability zone. Okay, so basically availability zone, what Microsoft did actually, why we are saying the availability zone, they created they segregated their data center in a different geographical regions, as we discussed in our previous slide, and that regions we can use as a high availability things. So let's take an example. You are running a very critical application and you need a high availability setup, right? Suppose your application is running the Asia region data center, and let's assume there is a disaster happened and that region data center is closed. Now you don't have the the availability to other regions, then your delivery will be impacted. So if you configured your application in a 2 regions, let's take a look in this picture. So here we have the availability zone 1, availability zone 2 and 3. Okay, if you are running your application, if you are configured your application in a 3 geographical zones, you are getting the highly availability zone. If the zone 1 will be shut down due to some reason, you have the availability for zone 2 and zone 3. Okay, so this is something very very useful things. In a old tradition IT also, we worked for the data center application, something like that, right? So we worked for the data center DR setup, like one data center in a different geographical zone and another data center is a different geographical zone, and both is synchronized between. So one data center, let's say DC1 is down, so you have the availability for DC2. So based on the same concept, on over the cloud also we have the Azure region. You can configure your application in a 2, 3, whatever the regions as per the project cost and all. You can configure your application and choose the region also. So due to some circumstances, if the one region is goes down, you have the availability for other regions. Okay, so that's the region we called availability zone. Okay, come to the next slide. Yeah, this one is something really interesting, the resource group. Okay, so I will talk bit behind. So what we managed earlier, let's take an example. If you are creating a virtual machine over the Azure, so you need to maintain, the separate storage account and the network and all. But if you're taking the help of resource group, you don't need to worry about maintaining the individual things. Okay, so basically it's a new approach to group a collection of assets in a logical groups for easy or automatic provisioning. If you look at this diagram bottom, so we have the resource here in under the resource section, like virtual machine, storage, database and all, right? So if you are clubbed together, that's called resource group. If you are taking the subscription for that, and that will be managed by management groups. So here it's like parents and child's relation kind of things, right? B-tree structures, Okay, so let's assume if you are creating a virtual machine without using the resource group. So what you need to require, you need to create a the storage account and virtual network subnet and subnet. So for that, you need to think about their dependency and all. But if you created the resource group, they can easily virtually access, and you can utilize whenever you want, right? So that's the reason we called it's a new approach to group a collection of assets. Whatever the assets available on a Microsoft Azure portal, you can create a resource group. Let's just take an example of a storage only, right? So if you create a resource group and you have taken around 5 terabyte storage, so only one time you need to create a storage account. Whenever you want the storage, no need to create a separate storage account. You can utilize the same resource group. I will tell you in a live session when we create the resource group on an Azure portal. Till then, just keep in mind the basics fundamental about the resource group. Okay, I will show you how to create the resource group on an Azure portal, and then we'll see how to add the the component in a existing resource group. Okay, come to the next slide. This is also something really interesting, the types of network services. So basically we have types of network services in Azure. So I have just make it the bullet points here. So types of network services, basically connectivity services, protection services, delivery services, and the monitoring services. If you come to one by one, the connectivity services. Okay, 1 second. Connectivity services. So we have the virtual network, virtual private network, we call VPN, and express route, right? If you come to protection services, we have the DDoS protection and the Azure firewall, network security groups, and the private links, right? The delivery services, the load balancer, we have the load balancer, application gateway, content delivery network, CDN, Azure front door services. If you come to the monitoring services, we have the network watcher, express route monitor, and Azure monitor. So in this slide, just I have segregated the the services which is falls under the connectivity services, protection services, delivery services, and monitoring services. I would request to go and read each and every types of network services component in details. Then you will get the exact overview here, right? I just segregated here which is falls under which, right? So these are the major network services over the Azure cloud. Now we will talk about the Azure storage, something really good. So here also we have two things, the unmanaged storage and managed storage, right? This is really helpful. So under the unmanaged storage, we call the general purpose V2, GVP2, most common type of storage and falls under blobs, tables, queues and files, right? These are the most common storage for Azure. So Azure Data Lake storage, it's the cheapest types of storage, just only paying per GB utilization. So what that means? It's like, if you used, the 1 GB, so you need to pay 1.8 cents only, right? So that is something really good. Whatever you use, you can pay that much. This is the Cloud Funda across the all, even the AWS, Azure, IBM Cloud, whatever. It's like something same approach. Whatever you use storage, pay only that much, right? Allocation is not matter. When we come to managed storage, it's like Azure Virtual Machine Disk, reverse capacity in advance and optimized to virtual hard disk. So when we are creating the virtual machine, right, on an Azure portal, so you need a storage, right? So we are creating the managed disk also there. Once we create a virtual machine live session, I will show you how to create a disk. Okay. That's called the managed storage, right? And blobs, table, queues, files, it's called unmanaged storage, right? It's like bucket. Whatever you have, just dump it, right? They will manage itself. No need to worry about it. Then come to backup, replication and recovery storage. Okay. So it's basically, taking the backup storage, have some retention policy used for replication and Azure Site Recovery. So these, storage basically used for, when you are doing the SRM, the Azure Site Recovery, used to replication. Basically, it's when you require the replication storage, do the replication for storage, it's very helpful. There have some retention policy you can select when you are creating the storage, and we have the backup policies also here, the backup storage. So these are the types of storage, the managed, unmanaged. I will show you how to create the storage accounts and all in a live session. Okay, come to the next slide. So this is something Azure database products. So what are the core Azure database products available on Azure portal, and which is used very frequently in a high demand, we can say. The Cosmos DB is very extremely faster storage, right? It's a designed for modern applications such as mobile, videos, game and social networking site. This database basically growing too much fast. I think it's a very popular database in coming year. Then NoSQL storage and multimodal, supports many open sources, API and protocols, right? That is called Cosmos DB. If you come to Azure SQL database, this have own functionality. It's run on the SQL Server engine, and the Relation DB database, it's called RDBMS database. It's easy to replicate, easy to scale, and easy to migrate from SQL Server on-prem. So from on-prem to off-prem, SQL database is much easier to migrate, right? Now come to Azure database for PostgreSQL. So manage the PostgreSQL database, the open source, it's an open source DB, better support for cluster and complex server setup, makes migration to cloud easier. The Postgre also, it's making the life easier when you are migrating a database. So these are the core Azure database product which is used very highly. Okay. So what I'm saying here, come to next slide. Okay, so now last. So what I'm conveying in the message here, all the slides which based on the fundamental AZ900, and it's covering the core, if you come to here, the core Azure services from the cloud to till database, right? So in a next slide, I will come with the security and the pricing and all, and then we start for the lab session. Also, we'll create a the live demo videos for AZ900. Okay, what are the topics related with the AZ900? I will give the live demo as well. Okay, so for today, that's it, guys. Hope you got my points, what I try to convey you. In the next section, we will meet soon. Till then, bye bye. Thanks for watching, and please like to subscribe. Thank you.